Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we're talking about the dragons again, but not about the spam dragons like yesterday. We're talking about the Queen Walk dragons. A lot of you suggested this army down below in the comments, and I thought let's pick it up. This is my version of the Queen Walk dragons. I know there are a couple of more simple ways on how to do that out there, like more dragons, less final troops, etc. But I'm a huge fan of the Warbreakers and then the Wizards and the Archers, just to make sure, like, if your queen is dying, you can lure the healers across the base with the Wizards or with the two Archers. So that's a nice touch as well, and that's why I have only 7 dragons and only 1 baby dragon. We are using a jump spell as well. Let's see how this goes. Maybe you're switching out the jump spell at some point if you're catching a lot of like too many trophy bases. On trophy bases, you don't need the jump spell too often, but on those anti 3-star bases, the jump spell is really nice. And then as well, we have to choose whether we are going with the loons in the slammer or the dragons. I guess we will learn that over the next couple of attacks. Let's see how, like, what we find, and let's see how we do with this army. Before we jump into the live replays or like live commentary, I will first off explain over a couple of replays how you guys do the Queen Walk dragons. What are your main objectives to take out to make a successful Queen Walk dragon attack, and what is pretty much the goal on all of those charges and all of those attacks. First off, this is pretty much always, or it's pretty similar to the Queen Walk minor army, which means the objectives are pretty much the same as well, which means Town Hall, obviously, Eagle, obviously, and then, because it's the dragons, even more obviously, the air defenses. Those are the main objectives, and if you can take out a couple of those, you're already pretty good when it comes down to the setup for the Queen Walk. But one more thing, which is even more important, and you can't really put into like easy words, and that's all about the pathing. When you get your dragons onto a really narrow path, it's even better for the Queen Walk dragons because it's pretty simple. They're working, like I said, like the miners, which means they're different and complete different when it comes down to comparing them to other armies like the Loons or the Hawk Riders. Those are only targeting the defenses, which means you have to funnel the dragons and the miners correctly, because otherwise they will get distracted by buildings which they shouldn't really hit. For example, if they hit on storages, I don't know, barracks or even collectors, they're pretty much wasted because they don't attack defenses, and as long as the unit is attacking a defense, they are getting value because it means less damage on them, and it means you can clean up the rest after that even easier. With my queen charge, I took out both heroes. I took out the town hall and a couple of air defenses, overall 2 air defenses. What do I do next? I try to take out the top corner with my king, where I take out another air defense and as well create a pathing. With using the slammer onto the cannon, I make sure that all of my dragons are actually going onto the expos, which means the pathing for them is pretty much straight up. From the expos, it's going over to the Inferno Towers and then next to the Eagle. Another thing which you can't underestimate is the sweeper. When you have to use a lot of rage spells for your Queen Walk, then it's pretty hard sometimes to get actually through the sweeper without too many rages. On my example, I was able to just in between go through the base, through the sweeper, and pretty much had no issue at all getting rid of them. Then, like I said, my queen created a perfect pathing for my dragons, and another really important thing is, once again, really similar to miners, the time. The time on dragon attacks is super important because dragons are actually super slow. They attack not too fast, and at the same time they're not too fast as well when traveling. So this means you always have to take a look at the time. I don't know if the timing is kind of similar as well to the miners. I didn't test too much with them, but I think around, I don't know, 130, 140-ish, you should start with your dragons. Otherwise you will run into issues, except you have really good pathing for your dragons and already clean up quite a bit with your archers, wizards, whatever. This is going to be the first triple, but we have many to come, and the last attack is going to be a live attack, like I already said. So, what is the next step? Let's take a look at the next base, and once again go through what you should get to make this attack a successful attack. The next base is going to be a box base, and this base is kind of strange because you can easily reach the eagle, which I would just take as a gift. So let's walk through this base. The first thing we can see is the eagle. Like I said, you can queen walk that. After that, we have a lot of air defenses near the core, which means as soon as we're able to like queen charge into the core and we take all of the air defenses out, we have a pretty much easy way with our dragon when it comes down to value. But like I said a couple of minutes ago, the most important thing with the dragons is the pathing. With taking pretty much the entire core out, it's not that easy to make sure that our dragons are actually going to the town hall because our queen won't be able to reach that. So what is the goal? Like I said, queen walk into the core, take out the multi-inferno tower. I checked, I don't have a ram, that's unfortunate. Normally you would try to take out the inferno tower with the ram, so I have to use a slammer. Why do I prefer the ram over the slammer at this point? It's pretty easy because the air defense in the middle will take some time until it's down, and I have to use the slammer at this point already, which means the air defense is getting way too much damage off, and this is kind of like, I don't know, unnecessary. Otherwise, a ram would have tanked the archer tower and the inferno tower as well without getting shot by the air defense, which means it would have been way more value. So I had to use the slammer onto the inferno tower, use quite some rages on my queen to keep her alive, and like you guys can see, I saved one dragon. What's the main purpose for that? Well, I need a funnel somehow to get my dragons into the core, into the town hall. Otherwise, I will have a huge issue. And well, because it's me and because I'm doing those recordings most of the time live, like I have a couple of replays where I take live with German explanation, then with English, then switch it around. And in all of the action, I completely forgot to use the warden. That's a little bit unfortunate. With that, I couldn't block the all of the black mines in the core. I couldn't block the death damage of the Giga Bomb. But still, it looks really good. We lost our healers, but that doesn't really matters at this point. And this is going to be an easy triple. We have a couple of cleanup troops still left. We have our queen ability. We have the free spell. So this shouldn't be an issue at all. If I would have used the warden, this would have been an easy overkill, and this is how you can pretty much triple any of those box bases, and in general pretty much any trophy base, because the setup of those trophy bases is all about the pathing. But when you can counter that, then it's pretty easy to get the dragons into the main objectives and the core, because those parts of the base are super stacked on those trophy bases. This means as soon as your dragons are actually in the core, they can only attack defense, which means dragons are the same as hawks or loons. They can only attack defenses, and that's the point where they're the best at. So that's super important. So let's take a look at the next base. Once again, a trophy base, like those anti-2-star bases. This time it looks pretty much like a box base as well, but it's like with all of those 4 islands around the base in the corners. So how do we approach this base? Normally you try to go for the eagle. But because normally there are all of the black mines, we try to avoid that and queen charge another area of this base. What we try to do is to get a queen, or to get our queen into the core, because otherwise we have to use or save the slammer for the town hall, and this isn't the best. First off, we tried to lure the CC, which didn't work at all. I don't know if the range wasn't perfect for that, or I don't know if there's something else in the in that thing in the CC, but we still tried. It didn't work. Let's go ahead. Then we're using the king to funnel our queen actually inside. We messed up on the wall break because we had to wait too long for our queen to actually tank the expo. Then I'm freezing the enemy queen just to make sure that I can save my queen ability. At this point, it's super important that you always try to use one free spell for sure, maybe even the second, to save your queen ability, because it's really like if your queen dies, you normally run into really huge time issues. So it's not too nice. So at this point I use the jump spell to make sure to get my queen inside the core and take out the tunnel, take out the sweeper as well. Meanwhile, the baby dragon is taking out the expo and is already starting off with the cleanup. Then I'm immediately starting with my dragons. They have now a really nice path around the base and right into the first, or into the only eagle. And this is going to mean that I'm using the rage and the warden ability, and then the complete side is getting wrecked. Okay, I didn't use the rage. I saved the rage because I used the warden anyway. So because there are a couple of black mines as well, the warden ability was really nicely timed. I blocked quite some traps over there. And at this point I decided, okay, even if my queen dies now, I still should be fine. I need to get through the last Inferno Tower and the last air defense. That's why I dropped the Rage. Sadly, all of the loons on Dragon's path around, but still, this should be fine, and this should be an easy triple pickup for us. And now I talked enough about how is the setup for the strategy. I think now it's time for action live attack, and I hope you guys know now what to go for, what the pathing is you need to create for the dragons, and I hope you guys know now why why right now this is my favorite attack. It's super fun. And let's get into the live attack. Okay guys, let's try to do the last triple live. This is going to be the base, a super annoying one actually. So let's try to have a look on how we do this. Okay, first off, where do we go in? I think, that's actually, I just hate the space. So where should we go in with the dragons? I think we will just start over here, hope for the best, take a look what will happen and relax. Meanwhile, our queen is going in. We have a really strange CC coming out. We have a coconut loon immediately flying into a black mine, which is nice. Should we do another one? Let's do another one. Okay, do we have another black mine hidden over here? We have indeed. Okay, nice start. Okay, 2 black mines out of the way. Couple of more to go. So, where do we start off with our... let's put the king over here. We have to use the queen ability. And I think then we will jump her in a second. Where do we jump? I think we jump over here. Okay, queen. Jump in, please. Yes. Okay, so far everything is looking awesome. Where's our queen heading next? If she's going for the town hall, I do not mind. If not, it's okay as well. Okay, apparently queen is going on the outside, which is, like I said, okay. Ooh, tornado trap. Wait, where's my queen going next? Already prepared the... Oh, queenie, where are you going next? Go for the top. Nice. One more jump, or... I guess she can't reach it. Okay, this is still fine. We have to now think about where to start with the dragons. That's actually a problem. And let's start over here. Dragons are coming in. Holy crap. There are actually some... Wow, there were quite some traps over there. Okay. What do we do next? Use this over here. Use the warn ability. I want to save my slammer for the town hall because I think otherwise we will get wrecked pretty much. Okay, use this. Let's rage this. Use it again. Slammer, go. You need to be quicker. Some more wall breakers. I don't know why, but I'm still doing it. Yes, we still have the queen ability. I feel like it's not about the queen charge dragons, all about just the queen charging around the entire base. Whoa, we actually did it. We actually completely smashed this base with our 2 dragons still alive and our queen taking out nearly everything of the base. So this worked better as expected. I thought I would time fail again because, like I said in the beginning, this army is super time invest. Like, you need so much time for the dragon part because they're so slow. It's pretty much like the air version of Queen Charge Miners. So I'm a huge fan of this. Queen Charge Dragons are a lot of fun, and this is going to be amazing. Even though I hate the dragon spam meta, I like the Queen Walk Dragons, so I guess I have to live with the spammy version as well with the mass dragons. But the Queen Walk Dragons are actually a lot of fun. I think they're really similar to Queen Walk Miners, and both armies are so much fun. So I don't know, I like it, even though it's, I know as well, a little bit spammy as well with the dragons and the miners, but at this point pretty much everything is spammy except Blado, so you can't really argue about that. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys liked it, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the next one.